Their life was Manhattan perfect, a snapshot of happiness framed by a Central Park sunset. Jake and Sarah, a golden couple in a city of millions, had built a world on love, trust, and a brownstone overflowing with warmth. 6 years, a lifetime in city time, and they seemed unbreakable. Then, the cracks started, hairline fractures at first, barely visible. A diamond bracelet appeared. No occasion. Cryptic texts Sarah swore were work-related. Late nights became the norm, excuses piling up like yellow cabs in rush hour. Jake, a coder who could debug complex software, couldn't shake the feeling something was off about his own life. What was hidden behind Sarah's Fifth Avenue smile? Was he just playing a supporting role in a drama he didn't understand? Buckle up, because this game was about to get real. Jake, a software engineer with a mind sharper than a Wall Street deal, spent his days wrestling with algorithms and building digital worlds. Sarah, a financial consultant, navigated the high-stakes world of online banking and complex transactions with equal finesse. Their brownstone, nestled in a quiet corner of the Upper West Side, was their sanctuary. Walls adorned with honeymoon photos from Santorini, the fridge a collage of sticky notes, weekend plans, grocery runs, sweet nothings. They talked kids, a bigger place maybe overlooking the river, the future a bright, gleaming skyscraper on their horizon. "Guess what, Jake?" Sarah would burst in, eyes sparkling like the city lights. "Bonus! Nailed that Henderson account!" Jake would beam, pride swelling, another brick in their perfect edifice. But then, subtly, the bricks started to loosen. One Tuesday, Sarah walked in, phone in hand, a new iPhone, sleek, cutting edge, something Jake hadn't even seen advertised. "Wow," Jake said, genuinely impressed. "They really treat you well." Sarah waved it off. "Employee perk, high performer award, blah blah. Nothing major." Jake, trusting, didn't press. But then the gifts escalated. A diamond bracelet, suddenly gracing Sarah's wrist at dinner. A designer watch, catching the light as she typed on her laptop. Earrings, dangling diamonds appearing seemingly overnight. Then came the bank deposit. Jake, reviewing their accounts online, blinked. "Sarah?" he asked, confused. "This deposit, it's huge. Bigger than your usual paycheck. What's going on?" "End of quarter bonus, honey," Sarah replied, smile practiced, a little too bright. "Big clients, big deals." It sounded plausible, but a nagging doubt started to burrow under Jake's skin. Luxury gifts, massive bonuses. For a firm Sarah described as boutique, it felt off-key, like a wrong note in their perfect symphony. One evening, Sarah showcased a new handbag, Italian leather, price tag probably rivaling Jake's monthly rent. He couldn't hold back anymore. "Sarah," he started carefully, "are you sure all these gifts, this extra cash, it's just from work? It's starting to feel excessive." Sarah's smile faltered, a flicker of something unreadable in her eyes, but her voice remained steady. "I explained, Jake. They reward us. Why don't you trust me?" Jake hesitated. Trust. It was supposed to be the bedrock. But doubt, a persistent drip, was eroding the foundation. Unease gnawed at him. He needed answers, something concrete to either quell his suspicions or confirm his worst fears. One quiet evening, Sarah upstairs, supposedly working, Jake opened his laptop. He started digging into Sarah's company, Sterling Financial. The website was slick, professional, but the deeper he went, the more the mystery deepened. Sterling Financial, while legitimate, was small, almost unknown, a blip in the vast financial landscape of New York. No major partnerships, no groundbreaking deals that justified Sarah's sudden influx of wealth. The more Jake investigated, the more questions arose. Sterling had branches in Eastern Europe, oddly specific for a boutique firm. The lavish perks seemed wildly out of sync with their modest profile. A dark thought, insidious and unwelcome, wormed its way into his mind. Could Sarah be involved with someone else? Someone wealthy? An Upper East Side sugar daddy? To confirm or dismiss this fear, Jake turned detective. He started observing Sarah subtly over the next 2 weeks. Her routine remained consistent, leaving for work at the same time, home for dinner, late nights working on her laptop. But her phone, always, glued to her hand. At dinner, on the couch, even in bed, Sarah was scrolling, typing, always connected. "Busy day?" Jake asked one evening, trying for casual. Sarah glanced up, smiled briefly. "International deal. Huge. Managing everything." Reasonable, yet Jake's gut churned. One afternoon, Sarah showered, phone left on the nightstand, unlocked. Jake's heart hammered. He hesitated, a moral line blurring. But suspicion, relentless, pushed him forward. He picked it up, telling himself it was just to ease his mind. Emails, work reports, client updates, all normal. Then, a message thread caught his eye. Different tone, personal, informal, more than professional. Nothing overtly damning, but unsettling. He quickly put the phone back just as Sarah returned, a forced smile plastered on his face. "Everything okay?" she asked. "Fine," Jake lied, mind racing. Late nights at work became more frequent for Sarah. "Another late one?" Jake would ask, voice neutral, controlling the tremor of suspicion. "Project deadline," Sarah would explain, always plausible, always vague. But doubt, like ivy, was taking over their once vibrant home. Jake felt their perfect life, brick by brick, starting to crumble. He couldn't ignore the unease any longer. He had to know the truth, whatever it was. Sarah walked in past 10, dinner cold. Jake waiting, the same neutral tone he'd adopted for weeks, masking a growing storm. "Late again," he stated, not questioned. Sarah offered a weary smile. "Crazy day. Projects piling up." Jake nodded, expression carefully blank, but inside, unease festered. Sarah's phone, her constant companion, was now the epicenter of his suspicion. Those furtive glimpses of texts, lingering shadows in his mind. One evening, Sarah in the shower again, Jake succumbed. He unlocked her phone, scrolled to the familiar chat thread. Messages he'd dismissed as innocent now screamed at him. "You're amazing." "Thinking of you." The contact name, Big Boss J. A cold knot tightened in Jake's stomach. Fingers trembling, he snapped photos of the messages, needing solid proof, something tangible. The next day, Jake found himself in a sterile office overlooking a busy street, across from a divorce lawyer. His mind raced. Late nights, gifts, messages. The lawyer, Ms. Klein, listened intently, nodding as Jake laid out his fragmented evidence. "If you're ready to move forward," she said, voice measured, "we can proceed quickly." Jake hesitated, just a beat. "Go ahead," he replied, voice low, the sound of finality heavy in the air. 2 days later, Sarah arrived home in a silver Mercedes convertible, sleek, brand new, sunlight glinting off the polished hood. Jake stared, jaw slack. Sarah stepped out, radiant, triumphant. "What is this?" Jake asked, voice tight, disbelief warring with fury. Sarah grinned, tossing her hair. Gift from my boss. Like it was a bouquet of flowers. Gift? Jake repeated, anger rising. Well, sort of, Sarah shrugged, nonchalant. Company car, employee of the year perk, 6 months. Jake's control snapped. Jaw clenched, he spat out the words, sharp, accusatory. Is it because you're sleeping with your boss? Silence hung heavy, thicker than Manhattan smog. Sarah froze, confident grin vanishing, replaced by a flicker of panic. Yes, she blurted, voice rushed, defensive. Then realization dawned, face draining of color. Wait, no, that's not what I meant. Jake's stomach churned. His worst fear, solidified, raw. But watching her panic, a bitter smile touched his lips. At least he had his answer. Quietly, he started to prepare the words, the ones that would end it. You'll get the divorce papers, he began, but Sarah cut him off. Jake, she said, voice hardening. My boss is a woman, Lila, Lila. She glared, confusion and hurt flashing. Why would you even think that? Jake's mind blanked. A woman? He repeated the word, foreign on his tongue. Yes, Lila, Sarah snapped, voice sharp. What is wrong with you? Accusing me of something so ridiculous? Jake stood there, ground shifting. All this time, Big Boss Jay, he'd pictured a man. John, Joseph, Jack. The texts, the gifts, everything he'd built in his mind, now crumbling. Thoughts spiraled, replaying every misstep. He was speechless. You think I'm sleeping with my boss? Sarah asked, voice cutting. Do you have any idea how hard I've been working? And you're just sitting around, making up crazy accusations? Seriously, Jake, get a hobby. Jake opened his mouth, but Sarah waved him off. Don't bother, she said, turning away. Conversation over. Desperate to defuse the bomb, Jake raised his hands. Surrender. It was a joke, okay? A bad one. I'm sorry. But Sarah wasn't listening, storming off, shaking her head. Jake grabbed his keys, needing air. Escape. He drove aimlessly, anger, confusion, doubt swirling. Hours later, he parked outside Ms. Klein's office. He recounted the latest twist. Ms. Klein, leaning back, listened, a mix of amusement and caution in her eyes. Jake, she said, it's not unheard of. Unconventional relationships. Maybe Lila's role is more than just boss. Jake reeled. You're saying, he stammered. Penelope? And Lila? Ms. Klein shrugged non-committally. Just something to consider? Thunderclap. He hadn't considered it, not even in his wildest suspicions. He sighed, pressing fingers to his temples. Hold off on the paperwork, he said, voice weary. I need to figure this out. Ms. Klein nodded. Take your time. Call when you're ready. Driving away, sunset painting the city gold. Confusion swirled, questions more complex than ever. Was there more he wasn't seeing? God help me, Jake muttered. Tragedy? Farce? Leaning back, eyes fixed on the horizon, the weight of the moment crushing him. The aftermath of their fight was suffocating. Silence, thick and heavy. Sarah, cold, distant, hurt, radiating from every glance. Jake, lost in a whirlwind of dread. Simple misunderstanding? Or had everything he'd built with Sarah been a lie? Uncertainty was unbearable. He couldn't live with the doubt. His own attempts at truth failing, Jake went drastic. Private investigator. Jacob Davies, seasoned, discreet. Quiet cafe downtown Jacob, tall blue eyes, calm authority, greeted Jake. Firm handshake. Jake explained. Strange behavior, late nights, gifts, messages. Lila a woman, yet still unconvinced. Jacob listened, notebook in hand. Just to clarify, Jacob began, steady voice. Wife acting strangely, late work, lavish gifts, romantic texts. Boss Lila, female, but you're unsure? Right, Jake said, tension rising. Truth. No accusations yet, but can't pretend anymore. Jacob nodded. Work schedule, boss. Company. Anything to uncover, I will. How long? Jake asked, impatient. Hard to say, Jacob replied. Updates. Work fast. Handshake. Jake left, hope and anxiety swirling, no longer fumbling in the dark. 2 weeks dragged, each day an eternity. Home unbearable. Sarah's late nights continued, conversations, hollow exchanges, warmth, a distant memory. Work, Jake immersed himself, but mind always returning to questions. What if Sarah innocent? Paranoia? If wrong, he thought, apologize, fix it. If right, he knew what he had to do. Evening, couch, TV flickering, phone buzzed. Jacob. News. Meet. In person. Heart skipped. Finally, Jake said, gripping phone. Waiting for this. Cafe Verona, Bleecker Street, Jacob said. Secluded. Jake grabbed coat, mind racing. Answers close. Jacob already seated. Corner table, photos, papers. Thanks for coming. Jacob, calm but serious. Straight to it. Suspicions right. Jake's stomach lurched. Wife, involved with Lila, as she said, but more. Photos across the table. Sarah and Lila. Hotel entrance, closeness, body language, imagination unnecessary. Lila, Jacob explained. Not just boss. Assertive, older woman. Gets what she wants. Cost no object. Jake stared, mind spinning. Jacob held up hand. Something else. Sarah's past. College, scandal, another woman. No headlines, but ripples in certain circles. Jake ran hand through hair. Never imagined. Ordinary. Jacob nodded, shifted. One more thing. Company. Not what it seems. Shady dealings. Legally skating thin ice. Penelope involved. Serious trouble. Possibly you. Jake leaned forward, frowning. Trouble? Jacob hesitated, voice lower. No specifics, but cautious. Things not as they appear. Overwhelmed, Jake thanked Jacob, paid, left, photos in jacket. Next morning, confrontation time. No more pretense. Sarah downstairs, Jake called her to dining room. Talk, he said, firm. Hesitation, tension sensed. Then Sarah sat, wearily. Photos on table. I know everything, Jake said, eyes locked. Lying. Lila. Don't deny. Explanation. Now. Face drained. Sarah opened mouth. Jake cut her off. No excuses? Tone sharp. Seen all I need? Divorce papers ready? Filing? Jake stood, voice barely steady. Understand why. Why do this? Why lie? Hands shaking, chest tightening. Sarah's gaze dropped, tears forming. Opened mouth, no words. Whisper. Why follow me? Why dig? Words rushed, jagged. Not supposed to be like this. Shaky breath. Jake, I love you. Always loved you. Never wanted to hurt you. Wiped eyes, hands trembling. Something to tell you. Buried long time. Part of me, hiding, weakness, psychological scar, certain women, types, draw me in, Can't explain. Can't resist. Paused, guilt heavy. If I'd told you before, you'd have left. Thought I could control it, handle it. For a while I did. Then, this job, success, money, opportunities. Lila. Name broke her. Looked down, voice faltering. She seduced me, Jake. Made me feel things. Couldn't ignore. Let her. Jake's jaw clenched, breath shallow. Hearing this, tearing me apart. Voice raw, hurt, anger, pity. Honest now. No more lies, excuses. Penelope nodded, tears flowing. Honest. Never wanted it. Told myself, not really cheating. Infatuation, lying to you, myself. Sharp inhale, stealing herself. So sorry, Jake. Fix this. Therapy, counseling, anything, please. Don't throw everything away. Voice trembled, desperation. Yes, slept with Lila, more than once. Don't know why I let it. Career, allure blinded me. If it helps, quit job. Contract ends soon. Walk away. Jake didn't move. Paralyzed. Anger, betrayal, pain, pity. Scream, demand answers, but something stopped him. Looked at her, saw a shattered woman. More? Voice barely whisper. Others? Marriage? Really want change for us? Or just regret? Penelope met gaze, tears, but clarity. No one else, Jake. Firmly. Just Lila. Manipulated me. I was weak. No excuses. Want to change. Heal. Need your help. Voice quivered. Hurt you. Betrayed you. Convertible day. Lashed out because scared. Knew you were close. Panicked. Jake swallowed hard. Tears threatening. Weight crashing down. But beneath pain, flicker of hope. Maybe fixable. Rebuildable. Leaned forward, voice soft, steady. Penelope, willing to try. Chance. Don't want end. Not like this. New emotion in her eyes. Vulnerability, glimmer of determination. Not broken beyond repair. Maybe rebuild. Then, phone buzzed, loudly, shattering fragile moment. Sarah glanced at screen, face clouding, frustrated. Ignore it, muttered silenced phone, buzzed again. Again. Sorry, she said, rising. Take this. Left room, Jake alone, confessions wait, mind spinning. Recover? Sincere? Silence deafening. Sarah returned. Different. Woman pleading moments ago gone. Cold, composed, distant. What happened? Jake asked, taken aback. Have to go. Sarah, voice sharp. Urgent work thing. Everything okay? Jake, concern creeping in, reeling confessions still raw. Think so. Flat tone. No explanation. Turned, left. Jake swirling emotions, questions. Hours passed. Phone rang. Penelope's name. Hesitated, heart racing. Penelope? Voice cautious, uncertain. Deliberate calm, masking turmoil. Nothing braced him for bombshell. Ethan, Penelope began, detached, chillingly composed. You mentioned divorce. Get papers ready. Words hung, cold, unyielding. File quickly, consent to anything. Infidelity evidence? Fine. Nothing to hide anymore. Jake froze, hand clutching phone. What are you saying? Shaky voice. This morning. Fixing things. Razor-sharp response. Nothing to fix, Jake. Mistake. No love, no future. You don't file, I will. Decision? Heart shattered. Glimmer of hope obliterated. Anger surged. Penelope, lost your mind? Forgive, work on this and you toss it away? Tone unwavering. None of that matters. Only thing we both want, end this. Frustration spilled over. Fine, snapped. If that's what you want, lawyer now. But mark my words, Penelope, you'll regret this. Unmoved, Penelope, frosty resolve. Perfect. Finally agree on something. Good luck, Jake. Click. Silence. Rage, betrayal. Jake acted. Lawyer Ms. Klein. Evidence. Photos, texts, confession. Divorce proceedings underway. Papers filed fast. Signing. Turbulent emotions. Anger. Sorrow. Odd closure. Trial swift. Gravity heavy. Beside Logan Conway, lawyer, family law expert, Jake braced himself. She can't walk away unscathed, Logan assured. Betrayal deserves consequences. Larger asset division. Justice. Jake nodded. Focus finality, not revenge. Logan presented evidence meticulously. Photos, texts, confession. Indisputable betrayal. Penelope testified. Words stunned courtroom. Yes, I cheated. Brazen tone. Yes, I lied. Take whatever he wants. No difference to me. Cavalier attitude silenced room. Judge startled. Jake stared at unrecognizable woman he'd loved. Court ruled in Jake's favor, majority assets, Penelope's indiscretions, unapologetic demeanor cited. Clear victory. Jake felt hollow. Outside courtroom, approached Penelope near exit, inscrutable expression. You made your choice. Voice fatigued. Willing to forgive, but you've become someone I don't even know. Penelope's response bitter. I did make my choice, Jake. Maybe one day you'll understand. Without word, walked away, heels echoing. Jake stood still, cryptic words replaying. What choice? Lingering questions, pushed aside. Chapter over. Move forward. 3 months post-divorce, Jake rebuilding. Betrayal sting dulled, quiet determination. New beginning. Work, running, book club, rediscovering happiness fragments. Penelope, name avoided, chaos past. Or so he thought. Autumn afternoon, coffee shop exit. Sharply dressed man approached. Badge flashed. Mr. Davies? Yes, Jake replied cautiously. Special Investigator Benjamin Gallagher. Questions about ex-wife Sarah Davies. Jake frowned. Sarah, what's this about? Gallagher gestured bench. Company she worked for. Sterling Financial. Can we sit? Reluctantly, Jake followed. Gallagher opened folder, documents. Sterling Financial, investigation, financial fraud, money laundering, dubious transactions, illegal network intermediaries, Eastern Europe ties, U.S. branch center. Chill ran through Jake. Warnings. Company resurfaced. No idea, admitted. Divorce messy. Stayed away. Gallagher nodded, understanding. Reasonable. Still, ex-husband, insights into her involvement? Doubt etched on Jake's face. Shook head. Don't know much. Sarah, firm line, job, personal life, late nights, complicated things. Gallagher regarded him intently. Slight nod. Understood. For record, not suspicion, not implicating you. About Sarah, role at company. Jake hesitated, curiosity outweighing caution. Exactly what was her position? Gallagher paused. Connected to transactions, on paper. Whether she grasped larger operations, debatable. Courts found her guilty, aiding financial fraud. Lump in Jake's throat, voice catching. What happened to her? 4-year prison sentence, Gallagher replied. Boss Lila, avoided prosecution, fled country. Sarah, few others, not so lucky. Revelation's weight hit Jake like tidal wave. 4 years. Sarah. Composed, driven, now bars. Night. Jake alone. News replaying, relentless refrain. Jacob's warnings, company, subtle signs, overlooked marriage. Sarah's parting words, trial, echoed. Maybe you'll understand me one day. Days, restless nights, Jake wrestled. Visit her? Leave past buried? Part of him still cared, couldn't shake thought of her alone. Decision made, answers needed, closure, not pity. Prison visitation room, nerves frayed. Jake waited. Sarah entered, thinner, vibrant aura replaced by pale resolve. Eyes met briefly, sat down. You came, Penelope said softly, surprise. Had to, Jake replied. Can't keep living in dark. Penelope sighed, fingers interlocked. You deserve truth, quietly. Jake leaned forward, voice steady, insistent. Then tell me. Why shut me out? Why make me feel like I didn't matter? Penelope hesitated, leaned closer, voice low, firm. Started with that phone call, pulled me into work unexpectedly. Learned truth then, company, investigation, money laundering, illegal dealings. Lila, already planning escape, caught in middle, no choice. Jake frowned, frustration. And you didn't tell me? Penelope's voice cracked, shook head. Jake, if I had, you'd have tried to fix it. Involved. Authorities, come after you. Frozen accounts, destroyed everything. Even innocent wouldn't have cared. Voice wavered. Couldn't let that happen. So did only thing I could. Pushed you away. Made you hate me so you'd leave. Save yourself. And you did. You're free now. All I wanted. Jake sat stunned silence. Words cutting deep. You sacrificed yourself? He finally murmured, barely audible. Penelope nodded, tears slipping. Thought I could fix it, Jake. Really did. But failed. At least, sentence only 4 years. Could have been worse. Jake struggled to process confession. Why didn't you trust me enough to share this? Voice trembling. We could have faced it together. Penelope offered faint, bittersweet smile. Because I knew you, Jake. You'd have thrown yourself into fire for me. Both destroyed. This way, at least one of us moves forward. Single tear slid down Jake's cheek. Long-held anger dissolving into sorrow. Penelope, he said softly. I've hated you for so long. But now. Paused, wiping eyes. Now, I just feel sad. For everything we both endured. Penelope's lips quivered. Never stopped loving you, Jake. Even when had to push you away. Did it out of love. Hope someday you can forgive me. Jake reached across a table, hand covering hers. I already have, he whispered. And when you get out, I'll be here. Penelope broke down, tears streaming. For first time in years, hope flickered. 2.5 years later, Penelope's cooperation, good behavior, early release. Jake there to greet her, warm, steady presence. Embraced, wordless, weight of shared past lingering, beginning to lift. "Welcome back," Jake said softly. Penelope smiled faintly, voice whisper, "Thank you." Soon after, quiet trip, leaving Scar's old lives behind. Serene beach, watching waves, speaking for hours, future together. Resolve to rebuild lost, chart new course toward happiness. And maybe, just maybe, they would find their way back to that Manhattan perfect sunset.